Ronan worked alone in the corner of the frontier station. His hands were covered in grease, and the smell of burning circuits hung in the air. He had been fixing broken shuttles for years, surviving on meager credits and leftover rations. Life on the edge of the galaxy was never easy, but Ronan had learned to endure. He knew every loose wire, every cracked panel, and every stubborn bolt on the ships that arrived at the station. The day had started like any other. Ships came and went, merchants argued over prices, and travelers shared tales of distant worlds. Ronan had almost finished repairing an old cargo shuttle when the station doors hissed open. A tall figure entered, moving with calm confidence. Her skin shimmered faintly under the station lights, and her eyes carried a depth that made Ronan pause. She wore a simple robe, but it was unlike anything he had seen before. "I am Arya," she said softly. "I have something for you." Ronan blinked. No one gave gifts in this part of the galaxy. Most people came asking for repairs or protection. He raised an eyebrow. "For me?" he asked, trying to hide his suspicion. Arya smiled faintly and gestured to a ship waiting outside. At first glance, it looked ordinary. But closer inspection revealed that it was battered and worn, with scratches on its hull and panels barely holding together. "It is broken," Ronan said. "I don't know why you would give me this." "Do not judge it by appearances," Arya replied. "This ship knows more than anyone realizes. It has been to places no human has seen for centuries. It will show you the way if you know how to listen." Ronan laughed nervously. "Places no human has seen? I repair old cargo shuttles, not explore forgotten worlds." He wiped his hands on a rag, unsure what to make of her words. Arya stepped closer and laid her hand lightly on the ship's hull. A faint hum echoed from inside. The glow of the navigation core flickered through the cracks. Ronan felt a shiver run down his spine. He had seen advanced ships before, but never one that seemed to respond as if it had a mind of its own. "You can choose to leave it," Arya said. "But if you accept it, your life will change. This ship remembers. It can take you to worlds that even history has forgotten." Ronan stared at her, torn between skepticism and curiosity. He had spent his life repairing ships, but the idea of a vessel that guided him to unknown places was almost too tempting to resist. He nodded slowly. "I'll take it. I will fix it and see what it can do." Arya's smile deepened. "Good. But remember, the ship is not just metal and wires. It carries knowledge. You must respect it, and it will guide you." Over the next several hours, Ronan worked feverishly. He removed panels, replaced circuits, and rewired systems that had long stopped functioning. The ship's hull was scratched and dented, but its core pulsed with energy. It felt alive. Every time he touched a wire, a faint vibration ran through his hands, as if the ship was responding to his efforts. As night fell over the station, Ronan finally stepped back. The ship's glow brightened slightly, almost as if it recognized his work. He wiped the sweat from his brow and looked at Arya, who had been watching quietly. "It is ready," he said, though he knew it was only partially fixed. "I can make it fly again, but it will take time." Arya nodded. "Time is a luxury. The worlds you will visit will not wait. Trust the ship, and trust yourself." Ronan felt a strange sense of excitement mixed with fear. He had never left the frontier station for more than a few light years. The thought of traveling to places no human had seen was overwhelming. But something inside him stirred. He wanted to see those worlds. He wanted to know what the ship knew. That night, As the station quieted and most travelers slept, Ronan stood beside the broken ship, staring at the stars beyond the metal walls. Arya's words echoed in his mind. The ship remembered. It knew. And now, so did he. He could feel it, the promise of adventure, the pull of forgotten worlds waiting to be discovered. For the first time in years, Ronan felt alive, ready to leave behind the dust and routine of the frontier station. Somewhere out there, the ship would guide him, and no human had walked those paths for centuries. He placed his hand on the hull one last time before sleep claimed him. The ship hummed faintly under his touch. He did not yet understand its power, but he knew it would reveal its secrets in time. And when it did, Ronan would be ready. The future was waiting, hidden among the stars, and a broken ship held the key to worlds forgotten by time. The morning sun rose over the frontier station, casting long shadows across the metal platforms. Ronan walked toward the broken ship, his steps filled with anticipation. Overnight, he had hardly slept. Thoughts of Arya's words and the glowing core of the ship filled his mind. Today, he would begin understanding what made this ship different. Ronan climbed into the cockpit, noticing details he had never seen before. The control panels were old and scratched, yet the lights flickered to life at his touch. The ship seemed to respond as if it recognized him. He reached for a lever, and the core pulsed in reply, sending a gentle vibration through the floor. The feeling was unlike anything he had experienced. It was as if the ship were alive and aware of his presence. Arya entered the cockpit silently, her gaze calm but focused. "It knows you, Ronan," she said softly. "This ship is not ordinary. Its memory holds more than coordinates. It remembers journeys, paths, and places long forgotten. You only need to listen." Ronan looked at her, uncertain. "Listen? It talks." Arya shook her head. "Not with words. You will feel it. You will know the path when the time comes." He hesitated for a moment, then placed his hand on the glowing core. A warmth spread through his fingers, traveling up his arm. Suddenly, images flashed in his mind, landscapes of mountains taller than any he had seen, oceans that shimmered under multiple suns, and cities built with strange geometry that defied understanding. He blinked, trying to focus. "What is this?" he whispered. "The ship remembers the places it has visited," Arya explained. "Not all worlds are recorded in maps or charts. Some are lost to time, hidden from human knowledge. The ship can guide you to them." Ronan felt a thrill of excitement and fear. These were not ordinary adventures. These were journeys into worlds untouched for centuries. He could see himself exploring them, discovering secrets that humans had never imagined. Yet the responsibility weighed heavily on him. Such power could be dangerous if misused. He started examining the ship more closely. The core displayed symbols he did not understand. Arya watched silently as he traced circuits and examined the navigation system. Ronan noticed a faint line of light moving across the control panel. When he touched it, the ship's hum deepened, almost like it was communicating with him. "It wants you to follow," Arya said. "The first world is not far, but it is hidden. You cannot detect it with ordinary scanners. Only this ship knows the path." Ronan took a deep breath. "Then we leave today?" Arya nodded. "Yes. But remember, these worlds have been forgotten for a reason. They are not all safe. You must trust your instincts and your human skill. The ship will guide you, but you must decide how to act." The ship lifted off slowly, groaning under its own weight. Ronan felt every vibration and heard every creak. It was not smooth like modern ships, but it moved with purpose, almost as if it had a mind of its own. Arya sat beside him, calm and composed, while Ronan focused on piloting. He adjusted the controls and watched as the stars stretched into lines across the viewport. Suddenly, the ship shifted. The course Arya had described appeared on the navigation panel, glowing with a soft light. Ronan followed it instinctively, feeling the ship guide him. He realized the vessel was more than a machine, it was a partner, a companion. Every decision he made was acknowledged, every turn assisted. It was teaching him to understand its memory. Hours passed as they traveled through uncharted space. Ronan marveled at the strange phenomena they encountered, glowing nebulae that pulsed like living creatures, fields of asteroids moving in perfect patterns, and signals from civilizations long extinct. The ship responded to every anomaly, shifting smoothly, protecting them from harm. Finally, a planet appeared on the horizon. It was unlike anything Ronan had seen. Its surface was a mix of deep green forests and shimmering rivers, untouched and pristine. There were no signs of life at first glance, but structures peeked through the trees' ancient ruins that hinted at intelligence. The ship slowed, hovering above the planet as if it wanted Ronan to observe carefully. "This is the first world," Arya said quietly. "It has been forgotten, but it holds knowledge that could change humanity's understanding of the galaxy. The ship brought you here for a reason. What you do next will matter." Ronan stared at the planet below, feeling a mix of awe and responsibility. He had never imagined a world like this existed, hidden from charts, maps, and human memory. He realized that Arya had not just given him a ship, she had given him a key to exploration, to discovery, and perhaps to the future of humanity. He placed his hand on the core again. It pulsed gently, acknowledging him. Ronan felt a strange sense of partnership with the machine, as if they were connected. The adventure had just begun, and he knew the ship had many secrets yet to reveal. For the first time in his life, Ronan was not just a mechanic or a pilot. He was an explorer, guided by a vessel that remembered what no human could. And as he prepared to descend to the planet below, he realized that every moment would test his courage, skill, and determination. The forgotten world awaited, and the ship knew the way. The planet below spread out like a living painting. Vast green forests stretched as far as Ronan could see, broken only by sparkling rivers and strange mountain peaks. From the ship, it looked untouched, quiet, and inviting. Ronan felt his heart beat faster. This was not a place humans had ever explored. Every step they took would be into the unknown. Arya guided Ronan through the landing sequence. The ship hovered for a moment above a wide clearing, and then gently touched the ground. The hum of the engines faded, replaced by the soft sounds of wind through the tall trees. Birds with vibrant feathers flew above, and small creatures peeked curiously from the undergrowth. The air was crisp and fresh, carrying a scent of earth and water that Ronan had not experienced in years. "This place is alive," Arya said, her eyes scanning the landscape. "But it has been abandoned. The people who lived here left long ago. We must be careful and respectful of what remains." Ronan nodded. He stepped out of the ship, feeling the firm ground beneath his boots. He looked around, noticing the ruins of what seemed to be a city hidden among the trees. Towers made of stone and metal rose above the canopy, their surfaces engraved with symbols that glowed faintly in the sunlight. He ran his fingers over the markings, feeling energy humming through the carvings. "These markings," he said, "they are not like anything I have seen. They feel alive." Arya smiled. They carry the memory of the people who built this world. The ship brought you here because it recognized your mind as capable of understanding it. Some knowledge is too delicate to reveal to everyone. Ronan felt a mixture of excitement and awe. He had fixed ships and explored asteroid fields, but this was unlike anything he had imagined. Every ruin, every symbol, and every artifact carried a story he could almost hear. The first step into the clearing felt like entering history itself. They moved carefully, avoiding broken floors and collapsed walls. Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled slightly, and a series of lights flickered along the ruins. The ship, still hovering nearby, glowed in response, pulsing gently. Ronan realized it was not just a vehicle, it was a guide. It seemed to point him toward a larger structure at the center of the city. "This way," Arya said. "The heart of the ruins holds the knowledge we seek." As they approached the structure, the air grew cooler, and the symbols on the walls glowed brighter. The doors were massive, carved from a metal that shimmered in colors Ronan had no names for. When he touched the surface, it responded, sliding open slowly with a low hum. Inside, the space was vast and open, filled with towers of glass-like containers. Within them were objects that seemed ordinary at first but glowed faintly as he moved closer. Ronan realized they were artifacts left behind by the planet's inhabitants. Tools, devices, and scroll-like objects floated inside the containers, preserved perfectly despite the centuries that had passed. He reached out to examine one, and the ship hummed warmly, almost like it approved of his touch. "These are treasures of knowledge," Arya said softly. "They tell the story of a civilization that thrived here. They explored the stars, but they disappeared before humans could record their history. The ship can help you understand them." Ronan's mind raced. He thought of all the discoveries humans could make if they learned from these objects. He carefully collected some of the artifacts, feeling the energy hum through his fingers. Each one seemed to communicate a piece of information, memories stored in a language older than any human writing. Suddenly, a sound echoed through the ruins. It was mechanical, deliberate, and rhythmic. Ronan froze. Arya's eyes narrowed. "Guardians," she whispered. "They protect the city. They have been dormant for centuries, but they detect intruders. We must move carefully." The walls shifted slightly as hidden mechanisms activated. Statues at the edges of the room began to move, their eyes glowing with a sharp light. Ronan's heart pounded, but he stayed calm. He had survived countless dangerous repairs and precarious landings, and he knew panic would not help. Using his human intuition, he studied the patterns of the Guardians. He noticed pauses in their movements and weak points in the mechanisms. Arya followed his lead, and together they moved past the statues, avoiding detection. The ship hovered nearby, projecting a faint shield that blocked sensors and light, giving them a hidden path deeper into the heart of the structure. Finally, they reached a chamber at the center. It was larger than anything Ronan had ever seen. The walls were covered with maps of stars and glowing symbols that pulsed gently. He could feel the energy of the place, a mixture of knowledge and history. The ship hummed in resonance, clearly excited. "This is why you were brought here," Arya said. "The ship knows you can understand this. It will guide you to the forgotten paths, but only if you are ready to learn and protect what you find." Ronan stepped forward, his eyes wide with wonder. He realized this was just the beginning. The first forgotten world had revealed its secrets, but many more lay ahead. With the ship and Arya by his side, he felt ready to uncover the mysteries of the galaxy, one world at a time. The adventure had truly begun, and the forgotten world had chosen him as its witness. The chamber's walls pulsed with energy, illuminating the ancient maps and symbols in soft blue light. Ronan's eyes moved from one glowing artifact to another, trying to absorb every detail. Arya stood beside him, calm yet alert, scanning the edges of the room. The hum of the ship blended with the subtle vibrations of the ruins, creating an atmosphere that was both awe-inspiring and tense. Suddenly, a low rumble shook the floor. Dust fell from the ceiling as metal panels shifted. Ronan froze, recognizing the sound from his time repairing old ships, machinery coming to life. Arya's eyes narrowed. "Guardians," she said softly. "They protect the city and its secrets. They have sensed our presence." Before Ronan could react, statues that had seemed motionless moments ago began to move. They were humanoid but built of a strange metal, with sharp edges and glowing eyes. Each step they took caused the floor to vibrate. Their purpose was clear: they would stop anyone who tried to disturb the city. Ronan's first instinct was fear, but he quickly forced it aside. Fear had never helped him survive in the frontier. He glanced at Arya, who was already analyzing the movement of the Guardians. "We need to be smart," she said. "Brute force will not work. We must use our minds, not our strength." The first Guardian approached. It moved with surprising speed, swinging a massive arm toward them. Ronan ducked, feeling the air rush above his head. Using a fallen panel, he blocked the Guardian's next swing and noticed a joint in its arm that seemed weaker than the rest. "There," he shouted. "Aim for the joint." Arya nodded and used a small device from her belt, emitting a pulse of energy. The Guardian froze for a moment, giving Ronan the chance to strike the joint with a metal rod. Sparks flew as the mechanism locked up. The Guardian paused, then retreated slightly, as if recalculating its strategy. More Guardians emerged from hidden alcoves, surrounding them. Ronan's mind raced. He remembered patterns in old ship engines, timing pulses, sequences, and weaknesses hidden in complex machinery. The Guardians were machines, and machines could be outsmarted. He moved quickly, shouting instructions to Arya. Together, they lured the Guardians into a narrow corridor. The walls of the ruins were covered in energy conduits, and Ronan realized he could use them to his advantage. He directed Arya to disrupt the flow in the conduits, causing a brief surge that slowed the Guardians. The metal sentinels stumbled, their glowing eyes flickering. "It's working," Arya said, a hint of admiration in her voice. "You think like a human engineer, but with instincts sharper than any machine." Ronan felt a surge of confidence. They continued deeper into the chamber, using traps and clever maneuvers to evade the Guardians. Every step tested their courage and intelligence. Ronan realized that this was what it meant to explore the forgotten worlds. Danger was everywhere, but human skill and ingenuity could overcome it. Finally, they reached a central hall filled with artifacts and star charts. The Guardians hesitated at the entrance, unable to advance further. Ronan studied the room, noticing that the artifacts resonated with the ship's core. He placed his hand on the glowing navigation system, and it pulsed in response. The ship seemed to communicate a warning, but also a promise. "This is it," Arya whispered. "The heart of the city. The Guardians are here to test us, but what we find inside will be worth the risk." Ronan took a deep breath. He looked at Arya and nodded. Together, they stepped forward. The Guardians watched silently, their movements slow but threatening. Ronan's mind raced, considering every possibility. He understood that the ship had chosen him for a reason. It trusted his judgment and his courage. The chamber contained devices and scrolls that glowed with stored energy. Ronan carefully examined each one, noting patterns and symbols. He realized that the city's builders had used a combination of technology and energy fields to preserve their knowledge. It was more advanced than anything humans had created, yet it had weaknesses that could be exploited by clever minds. As they moved through the chamber, one guardian suddenly lunged from above. Ronan reacted instantly, using a lever to trigger a sliding panel. The guardian crashed into it, falling to the ground with a heavy clang. Arya moved past him, guiding the ship to project a faint shield that kept the other guardians at bay. When the threat finally subsided, Ronan leaned against a wall, catching his breath. Arya placed a hand on his shoulder. "You were brave," she said. "But more importantly, you were clever. Human minds can solve problems machines cannot. That is why the ship brought you here." Ronan looked around the chamber, feeling both relief and awe. They had survived the Guardians and reached the heart of the Forgotten City. The artifacts, the maps, and the energy devices were theirs to explore. He realized that the danger had only made the discovery more valuable. Humans had endured where others might have failed. He placed his hand on the ship's core again. It pulsed warmly, as if proud of his actions. Ronan knew that this was only the beginning. More worlds awaited, and with Arya and the ship by his side, he felt ready to face any challenge. The first forgotten world had tested him, and he had passed. Now, the secrets it held were theirs to uncover. The heart of the city was silent now, the Guardians having retreated to their stations. Ronan and Arya moved carefully through the chamber, their footsteps echoing softly against the polished floors. The glow of the artifacts bathed the room in a soft blue light, revealing intricate patterns and symbols that seemed to shift as they moved. "This place is incredible," Ronan whispered. "I have never seen anything like it. These artifacts, they feel alive." "They are," Arya said. "The builders of this world combined energy and knowledge in a way humans have not yet mastered. They wanted to preserve their civilization for the future, for those capable of understanding it." Ronan approached a tall pedestal covered in intricate carvings. A scroll-like device floated above it, glowing with a faint golden light. When he reached out, it projected a holographic map into the air. Stars and planets appeared, some familiar, others entirely unknown. Lines connected them, forming routes that no human star chart had ever recorded. "The ship recognizes this," Arya said, pointing to the glowing navigation core. "It has memories of these worlds. Together, they can guide us to places humans have forgotten." Ronan's eyes widened. He realized that they were not just looking at a map. They were looking at the possibility of expanding humanity's knowledge, exploring regions of space that had been hidden for centuries. Each planet represented new opportunities, new discoveries, and new challenges. He moved to another pedestal, where a different artifact hovered. When he touched it, it emitted a soft hum and revealed images of ancient cities, thriving with alien life. People moved gracefully through streets lined with structures that seemed impossible. Vehicles glided silently, and energy devices floated effortlessly. Ronan felt awe and inspiration. These beings had mastered travel, knowledge, and technology in ways humans could only dream of. Arya watched him closely. "This knowledge is powerful, but it is also dangerous. Many civilizations forget their wisdom and fall to arrogance or greed. You must be careful with what you take from this place." Ronan nodded, understanding the weight of her words. Knowledge alone was not enough, it needed wisdom and responsibility. Humans could achieve greatness, but only if they approached discovery with respect and courage. As they explored further, they discovered a central chamber filled with towering structures that resembled libraries. Inside, floating shelves held hundreds of artifacts, each glowing with stored energy and information. Ronan felt the hum of knowledge all around him, like a heartbeat connecting every item in the room. "This is incredible," he said. "It is a library of the stars." "Yes," Arya replied. "It holds knowledge of worlds that have been forgotten. Some are abandoned, some are dangerous, and some still harbor life. The ship can guide you to them, but only if you are ready to protect what you find and learn from it." Ronan placed his hand on the ship's core again. It pulsed warmly, as if encouraging him. He realized that the ship and the city were working together. They were teaching him, testing him, and preparing him for the larger journey ahead. He selected a glowing tablet from one of the shelves. Symbols appeared in the air, explaining the routes between stars and the hazards along the way. Ancient technology, energy fields, and even warnings about planetary environments were displayed. Each piece of knowledge was precise and detailed, requiring careful study to understand. "This is why the ship brought me here," Ronan said. "It knew I could understand it, and that I could use it wisely." Arya smiled. "The ship chooses humans who are capable. It sensed your mind and courage. These worlds need explorers who can think, adapt, and respect what they discover. You are ready for this, Ronan." Ronan spent hours studying the artifacts, maps, and energy devices. He realized that humanity's potential was far greater than he had ever imagined. If they could unlock the secrets of these forgotten worlds, they could expand knowledge, improve technology, and perhaps even protect civilizations from dangers that lay hidden in the galaxy. As he worked, he noticed subtle patterns connecting the artifacts. The ship responded to his observations, guiding him toward areas of the library that seemed most important. He understood that the city itself was alive in some way, and the guardians, the ship, and the artifacts were all part of a system designed to preserve wisdom for those worthy of it. Arya watched him for a long moment. "You see now," she said, "that knowledge is not just power. It is responsibility. Humans have the courage and ingenuity to use it wisely, but only if they choose to act with care and respect." Ronan looked around the chamber one last time. He felt a deep connection to this forgotten world, to the ship, and to the journey ahead. He knew that the maps, the artifacts, and the star charts were only the beginning. There were countless worlds to explore, mysteries to uncover, and challenges that would test the strength of humanity. He stepped back, feeling both awe and determination. The forgotten knowledge had been revealed to him, and he understood that it carried a purpose. Humans could reach beyond the known stars, guided by courage, wisdom, and the ship that remembered. Ronan turned to Arya and smiled. "Let's prepare. There are more worlds waiting, and we have much to discover." The first forgotten world had shared its wisdom. Now it was time to use that knowledge and continue the journey into the unknown reaches of the galaxy. The glow from the artifacts still lingered in the library chamber as Ronan and Arya prepared to leave. The forgotten world had shared its wisdom, but a sense of unease hung in the air. Arya's eyes scanned the horizon beyond the ruins, sharp and alert. "We are not alone," she said quietly. Ronan frowned. "What do you mean?" Arya pointed to faint signals flickering in the sky. "There are others who know about this place. They seek the ship and its knowledge. We must be cautious." Before Ronan could respond, movement appeared at the edge of the clearing. Small ships hovered above the trees, sleek and armed. Their lights glinted like eyes watching every step. Ronan realized that they were rival seekers, mercenaries who hunted for lost worlds and treasures. Their presence meant danger, but it also confirmed the importance of the forgotten city. "We cannot let them take the ship," Arya said. "They do not understand it. They will misuse its power if they succeed." Ronan's heart pounded, but he focused. Fear would not help. He had survived dangers in space, solved problems that seemed impossible, and now he would face these intruders with his mind and courage. "What's the plan?" he asked. Arya pointed toward the ruins. "We use the city. The guardians, the corridors, the traps, they will help us. You think like a human engineer. That will give us an advantage." Ronan nodded. He quickly scanned the chamber and noted potential escape routes. The guardians were dormant but responsive. If he could manipulate the environment, they could slow the intruders long enough to escape. The ship hovered beside him, glowing in readiness, as if aware of the coming challenge. The mercenaries landed near the edge of the clearing. They moved with precision, their weapons aimed at the ruins. Ronan and Arya stayed in the shadows, watching their patterns. He noticed that their coordination relied heavily on technology and force, but their minds were not quick enough to anticipate traps or sudden changes in the environment. "Here's our chance," Ronan whispered. He tapped a series of controls on the ship's core, sending a pulse through the ruins. Energy fields flickered to life, activating hidden traps and barriers. Rocks shifted, and walls shifted subtly to create narrow pathways. The mercenaries were caught off guard, stumbling through the corridors as the ruins seemed to come alive around them. Arya smiled faintly. "Your ingenuity is impressive. The Guardians and the city respond to clever minds. You have proven yourself once again." Ronan felt a surge of confidence. He guided Arya through a path that avoided the Guardians while keeping the intruders trapped. Every turn required careful timing, predicting their movements, and adjusting the environment to their advantage. The mercenaries fired weapons, but the energy shields and the shifting corridors blocked most of their attacks. One of the mercenaries tried to flank them, moving along a side passage. Ronan quickly activated a mechanism that caused the floor to rise, forcing the intruder back. Arya used her device to create a pulse that confused their sensors. The team's coordination began to falter. Human intuition was winning against brute force and predictable technology. Ronan knew they could not stay in the city forever. The ship needed to move, and they needed to leave the planet before reinforcements arrived. He guided Arya toward a hidden exit the city had revealed earlier. The Guardians sensed their urgency and formed a protective barrier, keeping the intruders at bay just long enough for them to reach the ship. As they climbed aboard, the mercenaries realized their mistake too late. Ronan activated the ship's engines, and it lifted off smoothly, gliding above the trees with surprising speed. The mercenaries fired at them, but the ship's advanced navigation and Arya's energy pulses allowed them to escape. Once they were clear of the planet, Ronan exhaled deeply. "That was close," he said. "If we had been less clever, they could have taken everything." Arya placed a hand on his shoulder. "Human minds are capable of remarkable things. Your courage and intelligence saved us. The ship chose wisely when it guided you here." Ronan looked at the stars, feeling both relief and determination. The galaxy was full of challenges, and rival seekers would always pursue those who dared to explore forgotten worlds. But he now understood that human ingenuity, combined with the ship's guidance, could overcome almost any obstacle. "This is only the beginning," Arya said. "Many forgotten worlds remain, and each will test us in different ways. But humanity has something they lack: courage, adaptability, and the will to succeed." Ronan nodded. He felt the weight of responsibility, but also a thrill of excitement. The universe was vast, filled with secrets waiting to be discovered, and he had the ship, Arya, and his own human skill to guide him. As they set a new course for the next world, Ronan felt a surge of determination. The rival seekers might follow, but they would never outthink or outlast a human willing to use both mind and courage. The journey ahead was dangerous, but it was also filled with promise. The ship hummed gently, acknowledging his resolve. The stars stretched ahead, unknown and waiting. Ronan realized that humans were meant to reach beyond the known, to explore, to endure, and to triumph where others might fail. The adventure continued, and humanity's courage was ready to face it. The stars stretched endlessly before Ronan as the ship glided through space. Arya sat beside him, calm and composed, watching the navigation core pulse softly. The echoes of the first forgotten world still lingered in his mind, along with the excitement and danger they had faced. Ronan realized that their journey had only just begun. "We have learned much," Arya said, her voice steady. "The first world has shared its secrets, but there are many more. Some are abandoned, others are dangerous, and a few may still hold life. Each will test your courage and skill." Ronan nodded, feeling a mixture of determination and anticipation. He had faced guardians, rival seekers, and the unknown dangers of a world humans had long forgotten. Yet the thought of exploring more worlds filled him with energy. Every challenge had strengthened him, and the ship had become more than a machine. It was a partner, a guide, and a companion. He touched the navigation core. It hummed warmly in response, as if acknowledging his readiness. Light patterns shifted across the control panels, revealing the next set of coordinates. Arya leaned closer. "The ship knows the path. It senses your determination and your respect for the knowledge it carries. The next world is unlike the first. It will test different skills, and you must be ready for anything." Ronan felt a thrill of excitement. He had never imagined he would travel to worlds untouched by humans, guided by a ship that remembered what history had forgotten. Each discovery held the potential to change humanity's understanding of the galaxy. Every challenge would teach him something new, and every step would test his courage. As they approached the next world, Ronan studied the images projected by the ship. Mountains of crystal rose from the surface, glowing faintly in the light of a distant sun. Rivers shimmered with a color he could not name, and forests stretched endlessly. It was beautiful, but there was something else, an energy that felt alive, almost as if the planet itself was aware of their arrival. "This world will be different," Arya said. "It may not be abandoned, and it may not welcome visitors. You must rely on both human skill and your understanding of the ship." Ronan adjusted the controls, feeling the ship respond smoothly. It hovered closer to the planet, sensing the terrain below. Every vibration, every pulse, and every light seemed to communicate a message. He realized that this ship was teaching him to understand not just navigation, but the subtle patterns of life and energy in the galaxy. As they descended, Arya reminded him, "Remember, every action has consequences. Respect what you find, and you will learn. Misuse it, and danger will follow." Ronan took a deep breath. He had learned this lesson well on the first world. Human ingenuity had saved them from the Guardians, and clever thinking had outsmarted the rival seekers. He trusted his mind, his instincts, and the ship that guided him. The landing was smooth. The ship touched down on a plateau of crystal, and Ronan felt the energy of the world pulse beneath his feet. Strange creatures observed them from a distance, curious but cautious. Arya scanned the surroundings, identifying paths that seemed safer to explore. Ronan stepped out, feeling a connection with the planet. Every step was careful, every movement deliberate. The ship hovered nearby, guiding him, and Arya followed closely. He knew that the world held secrets, and that human courage, intelligence, and respect were the keys to unlocking them. "This is what it means to explore," Ronan said quietly. "To face the unknown, to learn, and to grow." Arya smiled. "You have proven that humans can endure, adapt, and succeed. The ship brought you here because it recognized that. Now, many worlds await your discovery. Each will teach you more, and each will show humanity's strength." Ronan's eyes moved to the horizon, where forests of glowing crystal stretched endlessly. He felt a sense of purpose he had never known before. The ship had chosen him, the worlds had trusted him, and his courage had proven itself. Every discovery would shape not just his future, but the future of humanity. He placed his hand on the ship's core again. It pulsed softly, as if encouraging him forward. The galaxy was vast, full of wonders, challenges, and secrets that humans had never imagined. Ronan understood that the journey would be long, but every step was a testament to human ingenuity, courage, and determination. "Let's move forward," he said to Arya. "There are more worlds to see, more knowledge to discover, and more adventures waiting for us." Arya nodded. "And humanity will continue to rise, guided by courage and wisdom." The ship lifted off smoothly, carrying Ronan and Arya toward the next forgotten world. Stars streaked past, and the energy of the ship pulsed with life. Ronan realized that humans were meant to explore, to endure, and to triumph. The universe was vast, but humanity's courage and ingenuity were limitless. As the ship disappeared into the stars, Ronan felt a sense of hope and determination. The adventure would never end, and every world they visited would reveal new lessons and new wonders. Humanity was ready for the unknown, and he was ready to lead the way. The galaxy awaited, and with the ship, Arya, and his own courage, Ronan was ready to discover every forgotten world and unlock the secrets of the universe.